She writes in red entry number 2, Awareness, Reader Advisory. You'll find plenty of straightforward, pastel-filtered motivational videos on TikTok. This isn't one of them. This isn't a 5-step guide to happiness or something you'd pin on a vision board. It's not even meant to inspire. It's just honest. The purpose of this is for me to express my truth, and for you maybe to reflect on yours. If it helps, I'm grateful. If it echoes in you, that's enough. And above all, I wish you peace of mind. I woke up before the alarm could sing its second verse. Counted down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and stood up, instead of negotiating for 9 more minutes. I learned that trick from Mel Robbins. It's supposed to short-circuit overthinking. Weirdly, it works. I drank a full glass of water before even thinking about coffee. I read somewhere, like Harvard Health Review maybe, that we lose a surprising amount of water overnight just from breathing. That always stuck with me. Then I opened the curtains and stood still for a minute, letting daylight hit my eyes. Apparently, your brain starts syncing its internal clock the second it registers natural light. As Andrew Huberman says, it resets your mood and energy. And honestly, it feels true. I did my usual routine. Makeup like a ritual, SPF to armor the skin, black top, denim skirt, sandals. Black is my favorite. It's not vanity, it's readiness. I finished with my perfect perfume. I felt beautiful. Then I packed my green leather bag with surgical precision. Laptop, notebook, pen pouch, everything pouch. I have this system, essentials that must be in place or I feel like I can't function. Most of the time I'm right. It's not just habit. It's mental scaffolding. Breakfast is a stabilizer. Greek yogurt, chia, berries, oats, a bit of cinnamon. The kind of meal that doesn't hijack my blood sugar or leave me crashing at noon. I read about the second meal effect. Is real. As I eat, I allow myself exactly 10 minutes of news. One curated list on eggs, economics, cats, politics, what's happening in France, cats and dogs, what's happening back home, cats and animals. I sat on the edge of the bed, still glowing from my little routine, and tried to decide where to go. Library? Cafe nearby? Maybe eat and write? I've got a podcast deadline tomorrow and a research presentation Thursday. And yet, even the most intentional days can't always hold back what the night forgets to bury. Then it hit me. That delayed wave of anxious thoughts. You know the kind. The ones that wait for morning to show their face. Yesterday, at a gathering, someone said something. At the time it slid past me. Harmless, I thought. But this morning it landed. The tone. The way others reacted. It takes so little, really. Just a flicker in the tone. A glance. The memory of something unresolved. For the whole wave to return. And now that I'm putting this into words, and maybe into your ears, it hits harder. It's not strangers. It's not everyone. It's the ones I let in. Too many questions. Not enough answers. The thoughts hit like a wall. I couldn't leave. I couldn't even move. Tears came out of nowhere. It was that kind of awareness that shows up late. Uninvited, heavy. I wish it came earlier, but it never does. We all carry unresolved things. Some of us turn them inward. Some of us take them out on others. Neither path leads to healing. We all cause damage, but the damage we do to ourselves, that's the one we fear most. Maybe that's why, for most people, it's never even an option. But when too many people carry the same weight without ever looking at it, it grows into something else. A culture, almost, where tenderness feels unsafe, cruelty gets laughs, and real connection is replaced by performance. So I wish them real happiness, the kind that softens you, not hardens you. If more people felt whole inside, maybe we wouldn't see so much of this ugliness on the outside. And so we project, online, in public, in quiet, curated posts. Awareness, once a path inward, has become a mirror we hold up to everyone else. Even self-awareness, once a compass, can become a spinning wheel. After a series of sudden, unfortunate thoughts, life still goes on, eventually. I had to carry these melancholic thoughts somewhere before starting work. And so, as a ritual, I found myself once again on that quiet bench, deep in the forest, where the leaves whispered secrets, and the wind rustled like breath. This was my place. It had always been. When something works, you don't change it. It had inspired me, calmed my mind, helped me see patterns that once felt flu. It softened the noise, helped me drop into myself, into the quieter, deeper layers. It made space for emotion without panic. It let me be without fear, just like before. It was where I came to think, to untangle the knots in my mind, to make sense of the chaos. But as with everything in this world, there is a threshold you're not meant to cross. And this time, the quiet pressed differently, heavier, as if the weight of 1,000 borrowed voices clung to my skin. The forest, once a refuge, now mirrored the tangle inside me. Too much knowing, too much feeling, too many open tabs in my mind. It all started with a dog, a grey pit bull, odd-looking, almost terrifying at first glance. Wide mouth, muscular frame, the kind of dog people cross the street to avoid. But then he trotted toward me, goofy as hell, tail flailing, carrying the energy of a clumsy toddler. You'd want to hug him, maybe even protect him, his owner. Strange in his own right, wavy dark hair, heavy-lidded eyes that always meet mine for just a second too long. Every day he passes by says bonjour with that half-smile, half-dare look. And, like a reflex, I say bonjour back, eyes lowered, fingers already back on my notebook. It's a dance we both seem to know. But today, he sat next to me without asking. Headphones blasting something unrecognizable, aggressive, maybe techno. I didn't flinch. I just watched the dog. He had found a branch. No, a whole limb of a tree. Too big for his jaw, but he wrestled it anyway. Proud, focused, in that glorious trance dogs get into when they've found their thing. For 15 minutes, he played, unbothered, joyful. Then, without warning, the man stood and yanked the branch from the dog's mouth. Not playfully, not gently. He struggled with it, aggressively, then he gave up and walked away. The dog froze, branch still in his mouth. His body stiffened like someone had pulled a string through his spine. His tail, once a metronome of joy, now stood orthogonal to the ground, straight as steel. And I knew what that meant. Not just because I understood dogs, but I've seen this before. In books, in people, in myself. That moment of hesitation, of joy interrupted. Wait, what just happened? Was I wrong to be happy? Should I stop? I didn't need to have a dog to know what that moment meant. Just like we don't need to live a trauma to feel the echo of it, repackaged into a carousel post, subtitled and softly lit for Instagram. At some point, awareness became content. We scroll through diagnoses like headlines, swipe past self-help mantras, like, save, share. We've trained ourselves to read every twitch, every sigh, every nervous laugh. And in doing so, we've trained our brains to never rest, always analyzing, always asking, what does this mean about me? We are dogs dropping the branch, picking it up and following, not because we understand, but because we've been told what it means. In the early days, it felt like we were all on a journey of discovery, like a pocket-sized documentary of the human spirit, a carnival for the curious, for the caring, for the ones who needed to know why. We wandered, wide-eyed. We relished the thrill of uncovering hidden truths about ourselves, about others, about the fin fond du monde. And it felt empowering to give voice to those long silenced, to validate experience, to say this happened to me, and be heard. There was power in it, to speak, to be believed, to discover that your personal story held weight. We learned more, and at some point, we knew better. But somewhere along the way, that clarity began to blur. The awareness we had long wished for became a double-edged sword. What began as a path to healing turned into a vortex of constant labeling, diagnosing, dissecting. It's no longer about discovery, it's about decoding. Every moment, every mood, every conversation suddenly carries clinical weight. You're not just tired, you're burnt out. You're not just shy, you're avoidantly attached. You're not just annoyed, you're triggered. Somewhere along the line, awareness stopped being a tool and became a performance. We are drowning in hyper-awareness. We've absorbed every possible trauma, sometimes even those we haven't lived, because a stranger with a ring light told us we might, and their algorithm guessed right. Now, the line between what's mine and what I've been told is mine has blurred. We carry feelings we don't recognize, diagnoses we haven't examined, patterns we don't remember forming. What once felt like a path to empathy and connection has become a heavy burden, especially for those who already feel everything too deeply. We've crossed a threshold where constant self-examination doesn't bring peace, just fatigue, just noise. And now, even stillness feels crowded. It's made us afraid of joy, because every light moment might be masking something darker. Every branch might get ripped from our mouth. I miss the days when I was just tired, when all I needed was a good sleep, a good dance, a good laugh, and then I'd go back to work and function just fine. I miss when things happened because I messed up, not because of my parents, not the generational weight, not society, not the universe, quietly conspiring against me. Hyper-awareness made me irresponsible, in a way. It gave me too many explanations and not enough action. As awareness grew, it reached beyond the self, into systems, into history, into the lives we're born into. And as if being human wasn't complicated enough, we became aware of identity, what it means, what it costs, and how it can shape the entire trajectory of your life before you've even taken your first breath. We became aware of identity-based violence, of inequality written into systems, of the way some identities are preferred while others are punished. We became aware that even in places that preach freedom, fighting those injustices can get you silenced. We became aware that some lives are amplified while others must beg just to be heard. So, what do I do with that? Should I have prayed before birth to be born into the chosen ones? Or was I always meant to carry the curse of seeing too much, feeling too much, knowing too well? And then there's money, quiet, relentless, towering above us. Eventually we became aware that we are minuscule compared to it. We can speak out, support the silenced ones, read, educate, rise above. We can try to unearth the roots of rotten ideologies, But those roots are buried deep, and we will die long before that tree ever does. So yes, we are small, small in size, small in time, and awareness makes sure we know it. To be this aware is to live with open eyes and an even more open heart. Awareness has made me more analytical and understanding. I forgave my parents for everything I once thought they failed to give me, and loved them more deeply for everything they did. I understood my student who asked a question we'd already answered many times before. Maybe he was distracted. Maybe life was loud that day. Still he showed up. He didn't let go. And for that alone he earned my respect. I even understood my friend who cancels plans last minute, again and again. Because sometimes being reliable is a privilege of the mentally steady, and showing up for yourself might be all they had the strength for that day. But God does it suck to carry this much awareness, while others drift through life untouched, unbothered, untouched by nuance. At this point it feels like willful blindness, because it's there, blatant, screaming in plain sight. Sometimes I envy those who don't notice everything, who get to move through the world without reading between every line, without carrying the weight of what goes unsaid. After all, I am Hibiscus Sauvage, wild but not lost, soft but never small, until I find the words again. And remember, take what you need, leave the rest.